Hey guys, Lukas Schwekendiek here, and today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about consistency and I guess discipline as well, a little bit. Um, so, a lot of people, let me start it this way. New Year's Eve is usually the place where most people think about their consistency. They look back on the year, they think about what they did, how well they did it, when they struggled, and most of the people think about it in regret. They realize they weren't as consistent as they wanted to be, and then try to make up for it in the year to come. The reason, in my opinion, as to why that is, well, there's a couple reasons, and I want to share those with you here today, and go a little bit into them so that hopefully you can learn something out of that and stay more consistent in the things that you're doing as well. So, the first thing is that many people try to be perfect. When they say something like their New Year's resolution and set it for, let's say, going to the gym once every for 1 hour every other day, um, many people will quit their resolution as soon as they miss that just once. And that's so unfortunate because it's throughout the year you'll have so many opportunities, so much of life will happen, so much will get in the way that you're putting such a pressure on yourself if you go that route because you it's so hard to be perfect, and you don't have to be. The reason you set that resolution, for example, is not so that you're consistent, so that you work out more, so that you get healthier, so that you get fitter. And you do that by going to the gym as often as possible. So, something that I teach my clients, and I would like to teach you here today, is that it's not about perfection, it's about how many hits you get in. It's about how often you do it. And this is true for both a yearly goal, such as a New Year's resolution, as well as your daily plan or a daily habit that you're trying to do. It's it goes for everything. If you're, for instance, a student studying, and you want to study a lot today, you set yourself to study 8 hours, maybe. It's not about actually studying the 8 hours that's most important. It's studying as much as you can. That might mean you need to take a break in the middle of the day for a couple hours. That might mean you mess up. It might mean you reset. It might mean gets in the way. That's okay. Or if in the week you try to do something, maybe you have a tough project at work and you're trying to get as much work done as possible. So you're trying to at least do 2 hours worth every day, and you miss a day. That's not the end of the world. Remember, the reason you're trying to stay consistent and disciplined is not about the consistency or discipline itself. There's a reason behind that matters more, and that is what you need to focus on, and that is what you need to work on. Get as many hits in as you can. Don't worry about if you mess up once. It happens to everybody. Even the most disciplined people on the planet, they'll mess up once in a while. Some people do it on very rare occasions, other people do it on very few things, but everybody does this, especially when you're starting out with something. Give yourself a little break, start small and steady, and try to get as many hits in as possible. If you're meditating, it makes a difference if you meditate a lot, not always 100% of the time. If you're working out, you don't have to work out every single day. It's okay if you mess up once, just restart on the next day. If you don't wake up as early as you wanted to, that's okay. Reset, start off the next day, do it again, try to get another hit in, try to do it as often as possible. The other thing that people mess up on is that they're not aware of why they're even doing it, which is what then brings them to try to be perfect. They get too lost in the details. They forget the bigger picture. So I hope I already explained that a little bit with the last point, but in essence, you want to remind yourself of why you were trying to stay that disciplined. What was it about that discipline that you wanted? Why did you want to create this discipline? What is the end goal of this? And then it'll make things seem less impactful, seem less pressured. You'll because there's going to be another way around it, and you're going to feel a little bit more free because it's not so much about every single thing that matters so much, it's about the bigger whole that matters more. The other thing, or the third point, I suppose, is that you want to hold on, the thought just escaped my head. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Right, that you want to track it. So many people think they can just do it on their own. They'll just think, it's fine if I never track it. I'll just do it every day, and if I mess up, it's fine. And the problem with that isn't that you don't count the misses. We don't actually care about the misses, right? We want to forget those. We want to count the hits, though. We want to make sure that every time we do it, we celebrate ourselves a little bit. Because that's another win that we didn't have. That's another step towards whatever goal we had the discipline for. And that's the important part. So even if it's on a little sticky note where you just draw lines and you're saying, and you're just counting how many times you did it, maybe this month or this week or this year even. That's all you need to do, but track it in some way, shape, or form. Did you do it today? Yes or no? Make a note of it somewhere. Don't just leave it in your head. I do a lot of habit sheets with clients where they're tracking every single habit throughout the weeks so that I can help them out more. We see where they messed up, what days went well, what days didn't go so well, what habits they're struggling on. And it's that going deeper that helps a lot. And if you can do that for your own, go for it. But the core of it is just sitting down and making that little check mark, making that little X, making sure that you did it or that you didn't do it, and just marking it. Because that gives you another chance, even at the end of the day, if you didn't do the habit yet, to still sit down and do it. And over time, you're becoming almost painfully aware of this habit, which makes it so much easier to follow through with. This is something that I feel I get a lot of when I'm writing on Quora or when I'm coaching people, is that people are so afraid to use tools or get help. They want to do it on their own because they say, this is something so simple, I should be able to do this. Maybe you should. Who knows? I don't even know who defined that. But the problem is, if you're not able to do it, then you're not able to do it. That's the reality of things. So take that into account. Don't just pretend that you can do it and then you go year after year after year where you start a New Year's resolution and just end it again, and you start next year again and you break it off again. This happens to so many people, and that's why they never get anywhere. They just stay stagnant because they keep trying it the same way and getting the same results and then wondering why it doesn't work. If you're getting certain results that you don't like, you have to make a change. That either means get someone to help you out, like a coach, or start writing things down in a planner or a habit sheet or a schedule even. Make post-it notes, set alarms on your phone, even put a rock in your pocket to remind you. I know it sounds weird, but it's actually a really good strategy because it's something so unusual that you'll remember, that you'll notice it every time you touch that rock. Discipline is about doing it as much as possible, and if you need help with that, then get the help, because again, what matters most is what happens at the end. Who cares if you had a coach, set 50 alarms in one day, used post-it notes, used the sheet, and even had 3 friends calling you every single day to remind you? If that's what you need, that's what you need, because in 5 years from now, no one will care about how you got there. They won't pay it any mind. They'll likely, even if you tell them, they'll likely just ignore it. But what matters is that you got there. And that matters for your life as well. So if you're trying to exercise, if you're trying to read more, meditate more, or whatever it is you're trying to do, make sure that you take what you need, not what you think you should only need. Make the end the priority, not the process. And the last thing is, please, please, please allow yourself to celebrate. This is not usual. People are not consistent. They're not disciplined. If you manage to be disciplined for just a little bit, that's a victory. Every single day. Now, you don't have to go out and celebrate with your friends and get drunk and party or throw a huge get-together. You don't have to go that far. You don't have to buy yourself a plane ticket for a vacation or anything like that. But just a little fist bump. Just a little celebration. Just a little, yeah, I did it. every time you do the habit, every time you do that discipline, for every hit that you get, make sure that it stands out just a little bit. Because the problem is we always look at the times where it doesn't stand out, at the problems, at the negatives, at the times we miss, and then of course we get sad about it. But we forget how often we did do it. If you only went jogging 5 times this month, you went jogging 5 times this month. It's probably 5 times more than last month. That's 5 victories, not 25 losses. Right? So make sure that you do something. Reward yourself in some way, just enough so it stands out. Again, this doesn't have to be anything big. If you want to, grab yourself a snack, or if you want to treat yourself to a nice drink, go for it. You kind of know what consequences that has. If you want to jump up in the air, go and do that, if you can, or just, do the fist bump, but something. If you want to go the extra step, then write it down. Maybe on a whiteboard or on a post-it note, you just write down, on the 21st of May 2021, victory. On the 22nd of May 2021, victory. And you just keep going like that. And then you maybe collect those in a jar, and you'll see eventually how many victories you've collected. And that boosts your confidence, it boosts your self-power, and it makes you feel so much better overall. And you'll feel like you're so much more disciplined, which will make it so much easier for the next thing, and so on and so forth. So overall, I suppose, just to summarize the tips, make it a little bit more realistic for yourself. Don't try to be perfect. Reward yourself for the victories, and make sure you write it down somewhere. Now, that wasn't an order, but I hope you'll take those tips to heart, because it gets easier as you do it. It gets easier, and eventually, without you even noticing, you'll likely become perfect at it, and you'll likely be very, very consistent. But you have to give yourself a little wiggle room at the beginning. Good luck.